Thanks for checking out the video all about if you make $50,000 a year, how much house can I buy? We get this question a lot. We get a lot of people calling us about real estate. We get people asking, they're moving to our area. Well, how much can I afford? Well, I need to know how much you make. So make $50,000. That's what we're talking about today. All right, so you make $50,000. Now we're going to use that as a gross figure. And that's actually what the banks look like. They look at your gross salary. Whether it's a W-2, you get a paycheck, or maybe you're a 1099, whatever your tax return says, let's assume it's a $50,000 a year gross. So we divide that out, and how much is that monthly? So we take $50,000, you divide by 12, so wait, let's make the math a little bit easier. Can I say 52,000 because it's much easier for me to say? No. Look, in all seriousness, let's assume we bring home about $4,000 a month. Now, this is gross. So right away, we don't bring that home, but the banks look at gross. So we're going to say $4,000 gross per month. We want to stay at 43% of that. So the bank is going to loan you up to 43% of what you bring home every month. Now, but there's always a but, right? But that 43% also includes what other payments you have. Car payments, student loans, credit card payments. So added up all together, the bank will allow you to borrow, the lender, the bank, wherever you're getting the mortgage from, they will allow you to borrow and pay up to 43% of what you earn every month on a gross basis. So you bring home $4,000 a month, they're going to allow you $1,720 for every single payment that you have to make, including your mortgage, including your car payments. So we start backing that out. So we start with the first number, 43% of our gross. We start taking out what we already pay, what we can prove that we have to pay. When I say prove is like, well, maybe you order pizza and you pay your loved ones $10 every week for that. We don't have to prove that, so we don't have to admit to doing that. By the way, if you are having pizza, save me a slice. But so things on our credit report, cell phone bills, credit cards, student loans, things of this nature, something on an installment plan. So we start backing out these payments. Whatever's left, that's what the bank's gonna let you borrow. So what is a $1,720 mortgage payment? Now, granted, I'm certain, I would imagine we make $50,000, we're not gonna have a $1,720 mortgage payment because we do have some other payments involved. But I wanna give a little context to at least carry us through, well, what is $1,700? What does that buy me every month? Now, the $1,700, let's assume that's gonna be your mortgage payment. That includes the principal, the interest, the taxes, and the insurance. So the price of the house is heavily weighted on what the taxes are, because the tax amount every month, tax amount per year divided by every month, will fluctuate, will make the amount of mortgage payment higher or lower, if you can follow my math, which means based on how high the taxes are, the lower the price house we're going to look at. So we'll give an example of a $225,000 house. We're going to put down the minimum amount down, which FHA allows us to do that, which is 3.5%, which is about $9,000, or is it exact? That means we're borrowing $216,000. I'm using today's rate, and today's rate, we're in 2022, I'm using a very conservative rate of about 5%. So our rate is 5%. We're borrowing $216,000. Principal and interest on that on a 30-year loan is about $1,140. Now I'm rounding up to make it easy math. So $1,140. Now we add our taxes in. And in our area in Pennsylvania, we're in the Philadelphia region, our taxes could range anywhere from $1,000 in the city. It's probably more like $1,500 or $1,600 in the city for a $225,000 house. And if we go out to the suburbs, depending on where you go, especially in Delaware County, no offense Delaware County, although you do have the pretty high taxes, you could go as high as $6,000 a year for taxes. Put you right in the middle there, around $3,600 in taxes. So we add $300 a month to our $1,140. What is that math? 11 and 3. So now we're at $1,440. We put in our insurance payment. I'll just call it $100, although it should not be $100. It's probably more like $70 or $80. Now we've got $1,540 a month. So we're $200 under the threshold of being at our DTI. So I hope you're tracking with me here. I will put a handy dandy calculator in the comments section here. It's the Consumer Finance, the government entity. It's a pretty robust website and pretty helpful. That'll help you calculate different things. Just make sure you know what your tax amount is. And I would use $1,200 a year for your insurance. It just makes easy math. So depending on how much more or less we put down, that would greatly reduce or raise the amount of the cost of our mortgage, monthly mortgage payment. But granted, for every, this is approximate now, for every $10,000 that you put down or reduce the amount that you're borrowing, it's about $60 a month. So $10,000 is a lot of money, obviously, right? $60 isn't really a lot of money, although it's kind of a lot of money, but $60 versus $10,000. So if you're thinking, oh, I could put a few $1,000s more down, it's not going to drastically reduce your price of your mortgage payment. So when we first started in this business, that was before the World Wide Web. No, I'm just kidding. So about 20 years ago or so, I'm dating myself now, but boy, it's a great date to be on. About 20 years ago or so, we were trained to say, well, how much do you make per year? $50,000? You should buy a $150,000 house. It was just simple math times 3. That math is sort of holds true still. I think you could push the limit a little bit. I would prefer using this DTI, this debt to income ratio, versus annual salary times 3. $150,000 house kind of limits you, where you just saw in our other example, we could get you into a $225,000 house. You would still be just under the threshold of 43% DTI. So it really is kind of relative. I don't use a rule of thumb on how much do I make, let's multiply it, that's how much house you should have. What I like to look at is the DTI, but I always start with, what do you want your payment to be? If you're paying rent now, you might want to push that limit a little bit because you're going to get some tax benefit becoming a homeowner. And I'm not a specialized tax professional, but you do get a write-off in a sense, and you do get to write the interest off on your taxes. Plus, as a homeowner, you're a little more motivated to pay a little bit more each month instead of paying to rent. Now, we've got a ton of great videos here on our channel, and as you scroll through, you'll see other ones are based on the financing. So if you wanted to get more into specifics about, well, how much do I earn and how much can I afford, gladly we'd like to sit with you. Our friends at North Star Mortgage would certainly like to do that. You can set up a Zoom call with us. You can hit us up on our Calendly. You want to text us, so you can email us. You can fax us as well. So hopefully the video will leave you with something like this. If I make $50,000 a year, what do I bring home every month? I need to keep every payment that I'm liable for, including my mortgage payment, under about 50% of what I bring home. That'll keep you safe, that'll keep the bank happy, and that'll get you pretty much around somewhere between a $150,000 and $250,000 house. $200,000 is probably that sweet spot, depending on what the taxes are and depending on how much your insurance payment is. Well, if you are thinking of moving to the Philadelphia area, definitely want to check out our home buying guide and our home selling guide here. Grab yourself a copy. They are free, put together by yours truly, and they are shown down in the notes below. Check out this video here, Living in Philadelphia, what are the neighborhoods? Once again, thank you so much for checking out our channel, Living in Philadelphia, and watching this video. We'll look to see you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody.